Put your hands behind your back, sir. Put your hands behind your back.
So police in Georgia say a tragedy averted after a family saw something and then said something to police. Authorities arresting a convicted felon at the Atlanta airport yesterday morning after his family called the cops to say he was allegedly on his way there to try and commit a mass shooting. Now get this, now the family turned him in. Madison Scarpino live in Atlanta with how this all went down. Good morning there.
Good morning, Bill. Police say that the suspect was streaming on social media, making threats, saying he was on his way to go shoot up the Atlanta airport, and he was also armed with an assault rifle. Well, as you mentioned, the family then notified police, who were then on the lookout for this man, and thankfully they grabbed him before anything could happen. So this is police detaining 49-year-old Billy Cagle, who they say is a convicted felon with mental health problems.
He's a felon with a semi-automatic weapon, and he's got mental challenges, and he's approaching the world's busiest and most efficient airport. When you have those combinations together, it can turn out to be deadly.
Police did not know that the suspect was already at the airport by the time the family alerted them of his threats. Video shows Cagle parking his truck in the South Terminal drop-off zone and making his way into the terminal just minutes later, fortunately, though, with his gun still in the truck. Now, police say he was particularly interested in the TSA security line and was hanging around there before police recognize and detain him. And investigators then found the AR-15 with 27 rounds of ammo in Cagle's truck outside.
I do believe that Mr. Cagle was headed back to his truck to retrieve it, and I do believe he was likely to use that weapon inside the crowded terminal that he had just seen.
Cagle is currently in the Clayton County Jail. A bond has not yet been set, but he's now...
Bro, this stuff is just absolutely crazy to me. You know, what do you what do you gain from even doing something like that, right? From committing some mass tragedy like that. Thank goodness he didn't in this case, but like, what do you gain from that? You know, like there's nothing to be gained except for the rest of your life in jail or a bullet in your head. That's literally it. And if that's the case, there's a million other things you can do to spend the rest of your life in jail. And if you really want to end it all, I mean, you could do that on your own time. Now, I don't want to advocate for that. I hope that people make better decisions than that. But like, just from like, what's the intended outcome of this? There's only two: jail or your death. That is it. There's other things you could do to go to jail, and you can die alone. So what's the point? Once again, I'm not advocating for people to pine box themselves, obviously, right? I hope that everybody seeks the mental health and get the treatment that they need, okay? If they're feeling that way. But I'm having a hard time wrapping my mind around it. What's your purpose? But then also on the flip side, ladies and gentlemen, we gotta make sure we stay aware of our surroundings. If it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. If you see somebody looking a little too suspicious, keep an eye on them. Maybe alert security. Like, hey, this guy's looking a little suspicious. Hey, make sure you got your weapon ready. You know, something. Make sure y'all ready to take this brother down or something. We live in a crazy world, bro. A crazy world where you can't even go to the airport. Can't even go to the airport without worrying about some deranged lunatic walking in there with a weapon and letting off. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. The mental health issue in this country is absolutely rampant. And we can get into the reasons why and that whole, you know, we could dive into that whole rabbit hole of things, but man, this stuff just and for anybody that would have been there at that time to know that you were this close, you were, you know, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes away from death has to be life-changing. Those people waiting in that line were 20 minutes away from death, possibly. That has to be life-changing. Now, you know, obviously now that they know who was in there with them and scoping out the scene, making sure, I'm assuming he was making sure that there was a crowd that was kind of standing still, kind of, you know, in a little area that he could easily, you know, let off at. It's crazy, man. Crazy. But I'm gonna let this video finish though.
I do believe that Mr. Cagle was headed back to his truck to retrieve it, and I do believe he was likely to use that weapon inside the crowded terminal that he had just seen.
Cagle is currently in the Clayton County Jail. A bond has not yet been set, but he's now facing multiple charges, including terroristic threats and possession of a firearm. Now, of course, there are still a lot of questions as to how this mentally ill felon got his hands on that powerful weapon, and that's all part of the investigation. But bottom line, police believe that they prevented a potential horrific event thanks to their quick work. Bill.
Indeed. The family made a tough decision, and they made the right decision, apparently. Madison, thanks, in Atlanta.
That ain't a tough decision. Hell no. What? Whoa. He messed up with that statement. That should not be a tough decision. If somebody in your family is talking about doing something horrific, and it's going out like a coward too. It's weak. It's weak. You know? Going into a place where nobody could possibly fire back at you is weak. It's pathetic. Coward. You know? Step into a boxing ring, put your weapons down, step into a boxing ring, and you handle it that way if you really need to. If you want to try to hurt somebody, handle it in a boxing ring. Put the guns down, pick the gloves up, lace them up, and let's go. You know? But nah, these folks can't do that. Got to take the coward's way out. It's a shame, man. It's a shame. But also, you know, I hope the brother does get the mental health treatment that he needs, because I guess I did hear them say that something was wrong with him mentally or something. But man, be aware of your surroundings. Always stay aware of your surroundings. If something looks suspicious, take note of it. Take note of it. All right? Don't just ignore that person that looks a little off, is looking around a little too much, or standing around a little too long, or wearing the ski mask and covering their whole face, and it's hot. You know, like, take note. Or as a matter of fact, get out of there, right? Just in case something does happen. Because that's what I'm doing, right? If I see somebody suspicious or something suspicious, oh yeah, I'm leaving. I'm not even taking a chance of anything possibly happening. I'm just gone. I'm out. I'm out of here. That's just me. Now, obviously, I know, you know, you got flight times and whatnot, but is your life worth a plane ticket? I would say no. Right? I would say no. So yeah, I'm just gonna miss that flight, brother. I'm just gonna miss that flight that day or that hour or whatever. I'll pay for another ticket. I'll pay for another one. But I'm out of here. Y'all let me know if y'all would do the same. Let me know if you've ever been in a position where you saw somebody suspicious and you were wondering, like, what is he doing? What's he got on his mind? Y'all let me know. Stay safe out there. Peace.